Hey, today we'll review book Personality Isn't Permanent by Benjamin Hardy. I've reviewed chapter 2, and the title of chapter 2 is The Truth of Personality. The Truth of Personality. This is a pretty long chapter, and really Benjamin Hardy shares a lot of great stories. I will not get into those stories. I highly recommend to read it by yourself if you really want to really read it. But really, I look into the quotes that really stood out for me, and I will read those quotes. And after that, I will share my perspective or reflection on those quotes. So, first one: bad people don't go to prison. Andrew told my kids in our living room. Quitters do. Bad people don't go to prison. It's like such an interesting perspective. I never heard that, but I truly believe that. So that means bad people don't go to prison because all are good people. But they just quit on their life, quit on a good way of living, quit on something meaningful in life, and they just chose to pursue something that potentially is easier. Something that is nothing no one else is doing. Something that is outside of law. Because they quit trying to figure out what is a positive way of living. And it's such an interesting perspective. I truly believe that quitters go to jail, not bad people. Andre's personality was shaped by his purpose. So he shared a story about Andre, and he was from school and decisions that he made, from music to really spend with cool kids and going to jail, and how he used to go into jail and really grow in the hierarchy in jail. And after that, he realized that he don't want to pursue that, and he said that I want to be educated, and he pursued education, and he became a professor in Harvard. So that means that what kind of purpose he chose, he chose the identity and personality based on the goal. So it's very, very important to really understand that our purpose will dictate what personality we able to live by. Because a lot of times people say, this is my personality, I will choose this career. No, we choose purpose. And then, of course, we build personality to that. For most people, personality is a reaction to life events, circumstances, and social pressures. For most people, personality is a reaction to life events. Such an interesting perspective. That means we react into life events and we build personality based on surrounding. Because if we are like in the salty water, we become salty. If we any other kind of things that become where we are. Because I love saying there is fish in the ocean. That when you eat, there is no salt in that fish. So that means even though that fish is in the salty water, it doesn't absorb the salty water. And that's how we're supposed to see ourselves. We say, okay, this is my purpose, this is my aspiration, this is what I'm going to become. And I don't allow my circumstances, my bad setbacks, disappointments, or mistakes, or anything of life events happening influence my personality if I do not want that. Very powerful. When you are intentional about where you're going, then you can become who you want to be. When you're intentional about where you're going, then you can become who you want to be. I always speak that, and I truly believe that. I always say that first, what you need to do, you need to decide your vision. So where you want to go, what is the purpose, what is the vision? And you ask yourself who you need to be to achieve that vision, who you need to be to achieve your vision. You don't say that who you are and design what vision is supposed to be. No, choose a vision, actually who you want to be, or actually where you want to be. And then what kind of person you need to become to achieve that. It's such a powerful thing. You can't make decisions and choices if you don't know they exist. And your ability to make choices is limited by your context and knowledge. When you expand that context, you expand your options. It's such a beautiful thing that if you really want to make best decisions, so the more you're able to see, the better decisions will be. So that means if you're on the top of the mountain, you're able to see more where you potentially go. If you're at the bottom of the mountain, you're not able to see much. So that means that we sometimes need to explore ourselves, to really expose ourselves, and that's what Oliver said, that there is three sources of goals. Exposure, desire, and confidence. Exposure, desire, and confidence. So that means when you expose yourself to new things, that means that knowing more things allow you to make better choices. Because sometimes you do not know that kind of career exists. And until you know that it exists, you're never able to choose that. It's a very powerful lesson. Spending your days on activities leading you to something incredibly important. something you truly value, is how you live a life without regret. So that means when you spend your days on activities, every single day you do something based on really, okay, this is my purpose. This is what I'm trying to achieve. This is who I want to be. And every single day when you're moving to that direction, you'll never regret it. Because you're working towards your purpose, your calling, your dedication, your determination. So you'll never be regretting that because you're working towards you really, really care something about. Now going back to really sources of goals, your goals are based on what you've been exposed to. That's what I said. So those who become successful constantly expose themselves to new things. That means that successful people, they want to know more. So what they do, they go and explore, they travel, they move, they expose themselves to different kind of business, different kind of ideas, different kind of seminars. The things that they maybe they move to different industries just to understand how other industries are doing different things. How I could bring something from their industry to my industry. So expose themselves to different things, allow to have that bigger perspective. Very beautiful part. Uh, right now, you don't truly want what your future self wants. Such an interesting thing. Right now, you do not want what your future self wants. So that means that imagine and reflect who you want to become. And then ask yourself, I guess, like what kind of things he would like, what kind of things he would want, what kind of things he would need. So that means when you're able to reflect on your future self and reflect what kind of things he potentially needs, wants, or desires, you may be able to start working towards future self desires. Imagine how much your future self could be grateful for you that you start doing things that maybe you don't want that. Maybe you don't want that yet, but you already started working on it. Such a powerful, powerful lesson. Confidence reflects your personal belief in what you can do, learn, and accomplish. So that means that there's when you think about confidence, it reflects how much you're able to learn, improve, get better, and accomplish. So it means when you're confident, you're able to really persevere. Of course, you will do it. But if you don't have belief that will work out, that you will not learn, that you will not accomplish, you will not get the results, of course, you will not take any action. You earn confidence through intentional action towards meaningful goals. You earn confidence through intentional action towards meaningful goals. Such a beautiful thing again. So you have a purpose, you have a vision, and you have those goals, big goals, and break down those small goals. And now you take actions towards those smaller goals to achieve those bigger goals. But every single step that you take, intentional step towards a vision, builds your confidence. Because you know that you're willing to take action, you're willing to make things happen, you're willing to do what it takes to make things happen. And when you have that willingness increases confidence. This will happen. I don't exactly know how, but it will happen. It's this is the mindset of persistence and having that mindset until I will work until I succeed. I will work until I will succeed. And that's to say, this will happen. I don't know exactly how. That's the problem. I don't know how exactly it will look like, but I will make it happen. Maybe in 1 year, maybe 2 years, maybe a decade, maybe 20 years, but I will make it happen because that is my priority. That's my purpose. By the end of the day, you have made a lot of decisions and are exhausted. And as a result, your willpower is all dried up. By the end of the day, you have made a lot of decisions and you are exhausted. And as a result, your willpower are dried up. So it means that a lot of times he shared that we're supposed to sleep 1 hour earlier. Because a lot of times what happens is when we get tired, and the last hour, what do? We do activities, hobbies, maybe routines that is not helpful. It's not helpful because our willpower is super, super low. You start eating not healthy food. We start watching non-healthy things. We do things that during the morning potentially we could not do because we have a lot of willpower. So that means we do not allow ourselves to fall into that bad habits by falling asleep a little bit earlier. So not allowing that willpower to really, you don't need to use willpower at the moment because we go to sleep a little bit earlier. Interesting thing. Failing is another term for learning. Failing is another term for learning. It's a beautiful thing because I truly believe that. So it means that when you think about success and failure, you learn from success, but the most you learn from failure. So now when you fail forward, that means that you learned something, you improved, you grew. Because when we think about failure, failure most time teaches you twice, thirds, or like maybe tenfolds what success could teach. So that means that we're able to learn from failure. And I really love the saying that fail means first attempt in learning. First attempt in learning. So that means that we're able to learn every single time. So when we understand that failure is learning, we want to fail more. We want to learn more. And I think that is a beautiful thing when we're able to do that. So it was a great chapter. I think that I will learn even more from the chapter 3. So I highly recommend to read it because there's a lot of stories that I was not able to cover because it's really, this book is really interesting because when I read, it just chapters disappear very fast, even though that I didn't take a lot of notes. I didn't take a lot of notes. I take a lot of times even more notes, but there was a lot of stories, and I'm not able to transfer those stories in my reflections as much as it is in the book. So I hope that was helpful, and I'm looking forward to see you in chapter 3.